Joining us now is Cuban-American and Republican New Jersey congressional candidate Billy Prempeh. Billy, thanks so much for being with us today.
I'm not Cuban, but thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh. Billy, apologies for that there. What do you make of AOC siding with Black Lives Matter? I mean, she was completely silent. The squad was completely silent. And now you have this solidarity against America.
Well, first off, thank you for having me on. And I think it's a really hypocritical statement. The things that are going on in Cuba have been happening for well over 62 years. The country has been under communist control for a very, very long time. And of course, she would support that. Of course, Black Lives Matter would support the communist regime because these people are Marxists. They're pushing for Marxism inside of our country. The people in Cuba have been oppressed for many, many, many years. And while the embargo has had some effect to what's going on in Cuba, this is an issue that's been going on for many, many years, and the people are sick and tired of it. I know many, many Cuban people. I've dated Cuban people. I'm very familiar with the culture and what goes on in that country. And it's one of the main reasons why I'm a very big opponent of communism and socialism. It doesn't really stand for the values of what the people want. And now we have the president of Cuba saying that he's going to use his military against the people. What AOC and BLM are looking for is they're looking to just divert and distort information and continue to push their Marxist ideology. This right here should show to the rest of the world that Marxism is a complete failure, communism is a complete failure, and all that nonsense to try to bring into the United States, it's not going to happen on my watch. And this right here is just pandering to something that she herself knows nothing about.
Now, I'm glad you bring that up because President Biden himself was finally forced to admit that Cuba was a failed regime. Take a listen.
Yes.
Communism is a failed system, universally failed system. And I don't see socialism as a very useful substitute.
Well, that's pretty interesting because I'm old enough to remember when Bernie Sanders took to a virtual DNC stage and said that his movement was now the backbone of the new Democratic Party. The same people that told us that Cuban healthcare should be the model seem to ignore the fact that the healthcare is not working. Same people that said that the socialism of Cuba was the second to none seemingly now believe, as AOC said, that the only reason it didn't work was because the United States of America wasn't funding the Cuban Revolution. Talk to us about the intellectual dishonesty about what's happening here and the dangers that come as a result of it.
Well, what's going on in the White House right now is a total circus. These guys are speaking clown language. They're not even speaking common sense anymore. What's going on in Cuba, it's not because of the embargo. You know, people have been dying. The government has been oppressing people. They've been harming people. They're stopping people in the head, shooting people with rubber bullets, you name it. And the people that are supporting communism and socialism, people like Bernie Sanders, who think that this is the model that the Democratic Party should follow, I believe they're making a horrible mistake. And a lot of the people in our generation, and in my generation I'm talking about, primarily the millennials and Generation Z, they're very big into free college, free this, free that, all on somebody else's dime, not realizing that as time passes, society eventually begins to erode under communism. And sadly, so many people in my generation don't realize just how great we actually have it in this country. There's a reason why many people risk their lives to come to this country. There's a reason why when you meet the average Cuban inside of America, about eight out of 10 times, you're going to meet this person, and they're going to be a Republican. They're not going to be supporting communism. They're not going to be supporting democracy because these people are starving. These people are going through very, very hard times. You know, while Cuba has some great doctors, their healthcare system can be so much better. But the government doesn't want that to happen. And if they want to try and bring that to the United States, what they're asking for is death. They're asking for poverty. Because when they're talking about equality, they're just talking about equally spreading the misery amongst all of us. And I want no parts of it.
Absolutely. Well, Billy, we appreciate you for joining us. Thank you so much. We look forward to watching your race as we move forward.